little tiny puffy clouds, and there's a nice breeze. Ooh, it feels luscious. And I'm sitting in the shade on the bench here by my big rocks. And Connor's he's doing what he does at the dog park, and you know that's where I am right now. Oh, it has been an extraordinary week or so. I'm telling you, I've been working on some mosaics that I'm going to be uploading the videos as soon as I can get them put together. You know, it's harder than you think to put these videos together. But I also have one that my sister did for her grandchild, and it is a caterpillar, and I can't wait to show you that. I just have to pull it all together so you can see it. It might spike your imagination to do one for your grandbaby or niece, or maybe your church needs one in the children's playground area. But it is so adorable. But I'll be telling you about that and posting hopefully soon. As long as I can get it all together. I'm very happy. Sandy's moved here and she's settling in. I'm very blessed to have her here. And as you know, she's one of our YouTubers that moved here from far away. Anyway, and so that's a good thing. I've still got 4 tomatoes on my tomato plant. That's still good. So I'm still going to get some more. I'm trying to keep them watered and alive. They look pretty good. And we did have, I was going to talk today about forgiveness. Now, not all those other things. Now, forgiveness. When do you forgive? Do you forgive, or do you forgive with conditions? Do you forgive completely? That you trust somebody, that you, forgive them for something that maybe was wrong, maybe was right, maybe it was just a misunderstanding. Again, when do you forgive? It's so hard being a Christian. It really is. And I read in the Bible, I try to study, try to get my answers, try to figure it out. Now I'm 70, almost fit. Well, I'm old. But, you constantly try to resolve any kind of, bad vibes in the air or between neighbors, family members, people you work with, all kinds of situations where you need to rethink what somebody says before you react. And sometimes our reactions shouldn't be what they are. But, begin with, somebody shouldn't talk to us where we really doubt what they're saying. And that does occur more when we get different class of people, different ethnic groups together, or just different Americans together. We're all Americans, we're all old, But forgiving is a hard thing, but one has to forgive. One has to make the step. And I believe that forgiveness is the key to happiness. It says in the Bible, forgive, forgive, forgive. Now there's some things I thought, well, I don't want to forgive him for that. But then as time goes by, I say, okay. We all make mistakes. We all think bad thoughts sometimes, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't do that. But I got a story for you. Okay, when I worked many years ago, I was working at Timex here in Little Rock, North Little Rock. And there was this lady that was on my line. I did sub-assembly for the 360 watches at that time. And she didn't like me from the day I walked in there, and took my line, put my position on the line behind the microscope. And she'd raise her eyes above that microscope. It was a double vision one, and would be working like this under the microscope, 8 hours a day. And she'd bring those eyes up over that telescope and look at me. And that little, that little thing that goes right here, goes like hate kind of thing. And I thought, that woman hates me. She hates me. So I try not to look at her, I try, I'm trying to work, but you could feel the piercing eyes. You could just see it. And I noticed that she didn't get along with anybody. She just she was like a little barker. Like, oh, and so there was about 20 of us on the line. We're all sitting, right next to each other. So close that I could almost touch the lady next to me, and then on and on and on. One day, I'd come back from break. And, we had to sign out. We had to be almost escorted to go get a Coke. And during break time, there was somebody overseeing us, like we were prisoners or something. But, they did it for our safety. I know. I just didn't know why. But anyway, so I'd come back from my snack. My break. And so I sat down there in my chair. And I looked at the pieces that were stacked, on this little tray, which you had to fill so many. You had a quota of how many you could do in a day. And that's how you got paid. And so I was counting my things one place to the other, and one place to the other. And I noticed one of my trays was missing. Now when you have a missing tray, that might cost you $10, $20. Now, at that time, we were just making, if we worked all the time, 6 days a week, we might make $149, which is almost what it was for my child care. But anyway, neither here nor there. So, that tray was gone, and I was mad. I looked up and down the thing right there as people come back from the breaks. Our table took a break, and then the next table took a break. So, I waited till everybody got back, and I looked at everybody's tray, and there was one, that lady that hated me tray was bigger than everybody else's tray. Now, I never noticed, and so I was in doubt, because I don't know how fast she was. Maybe she's twice as fast as everybody else. I don't know, right? So I decided, okay, I've got to confront her, or at least ask her. And I wasn't going to talk to anybody else because I didn't want them to start having doubt about her if she didn't do anything, right? So I kept it to myself, and I thought it's between her and me. So I got there, and she come back. She sure did. She come back and sat there across the table. Now, the table wasn't, maybe 4 feet wide. Both of us working on each side of each other down the row with 20 of us. Anyway. And when she did, she took all her parts, and she's putting them, and she's looking down, and she's putting her little pieces all together there. And I thought, wonder what she's going to do when she looks in that microscope. What did I do? Yes, you're wondering what I did in that microscope, don't you? How did I do it? Now, I didn't want to confront her, so I didn't want her to know it was me that did this. What I had done, I had taken the cardboard from the Snicker bar I had ate during break. Got sort of slick on it. It's hard to write on, really. But I had wrote inside there, hate is a terrible thing. Do you hate me? And then I marked out me, and I put life. Well, the 2 little clamps that hold our pieces together underneath the microscope was just perfect for that candy bar piece of board to go under there. So when she got down and got ready to put her things under there, she saw something under there. Then she looked at her microscope. Well, you can't read anything with a microscope because microscope, you're working on parts this little, and you've got to see how small they are so you can work on them. Well, she pulled it out. Make a long story short, she pulled it out and she went like that. That little thing came up between her eyes, went down, you know. She looked around and she looked around. I expected her to explode like she does because she barks. And she took the card and she went on her lip. And I thought, I'm scared. And I started trembling. Right? I'm right across from her. I'm trembling. So she puts that little board, she lays it down, that little candy board. She looks down, microscope, shakes her head like this. I'll never forget it. She looked up at me and stared. And I could feel it. And I was shaking. My hands were almost leaking with sweat. And I was looking down here and my hands were shaking. And I looked up and she caught my eye and I caught her eye. She stood up. I stood up. And you know what she said to me? Did you write this? And I said, I was afraid to talk. He says, I'll talk to you later after work. And I thought, holy crap. So the whole afternoon through lunch and second break until we got off, I was like, I gotta go pee. I was sweating. You know, I was just, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And so after work, you know, I got my lunchbox and everything, and I was leaving, and I rode with 3 other girls from Rose City, and we were leaving the complex because I didn't see her, right? Left the complex, you know, one of the girls was driving, went down, finally made it home, and I thought, oh, I made it home. Well, to my surprise, that girl is sitting in the driveway of my duplex. And I'm thinking, oh, I've got to walk 3 blocks up to get my kids from the daycare center and back to my apartment. And she's sitting in her car. So I went and got the kids and I brought them back. And I remember Crystal saying, whose car is that? Is that Grandma? Was that Andy? Or who is that? I said, I don't know who that is. But I did know who it was. And so as we approached the house, she got out of the car. And I took the kids in the house, you know, and got them busy with some milk and cookies or something. I don't know what I was doing then because I was really nervous and I didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe she had a gun. Maybe she had a knife. Maybe she was just going to kill me. Well, she came to the door and she knocked on the door. And she says, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, hello there. I know who you are. And she says, I know who you are too. May I visit with you? And so I was going, do I let her in? Do I not let her in? Do I let her in? Do I don't know? Now you have to remember, I was young. You know, 2 little kids. Anyway, I was young. She came in the house carrying something. Thin, about 2 inches wide. Like today we would call it a laptop kind of thing, but it wasn't, back then there wasn't any laptops that I knew of anyway. But, so she come in my house and she says, I brought you some albums. Some of my favorite albums I think you'll enjoy. I said, okay. I'll call her Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. That's very nice of you. And she says, I love music a lot. It makes me happy. And I was thinking, I'm looking at this woman who never looks happy, who's always barking, Doesn't have any friends that I know of there. Of course, none of us did because we're afraid to be friends with anybody. And she says, your note. No, she didn't call it a note. She says, it's a strange communications you have. And I said, well, I didn't know. I was afraid to talk to you because I figured you'd bark at me and get mad. But every time you look at me, I get scared. You look like you're angry. And she says, I'm not angry with you. She says, when I look up, I refocus my eyes. And when I refocus my eyes, she says, my eyes do that kind of thing. And I thought to myself, oh, I thought you were mad at me. And she says, no, I'm not mad at you. She says, not at all. But I did notice that you like Diet Dr. Peppers. Or Dr. Peppers. I can't remember which now. And so she brought me a Dr. Pepper. And she says, I just thought since we weren't at work, we could just say hi to each other. Well, my husband came home and saw this woman in my house, and he kicked her out of the house. I thought, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to go back to work? I mean, he told her to get out of that house. It was his house, and her never come back in. He slammed that door, come in that living room after disposing her, putting her out there. He says, don't you ever bring that woman back in here again. And I said, Herb, I'm going to be afraid because she works right across from me on the line. And he says, you don't have to worry about her. Well, the next day, without sleeping all night and getting up at 3 thinking it's time to go to work, I went to work the next day. And what she did is when I came in and I sit down at my station, she come in, she picked up her microscope, she picked up her stuff, and she moved all the way down the end of the table. And she never talked to me again. I never talked to her again. And I was sort of torn because I thought, well, I did it wrong. I was wrong. The way I approached somebody I thought really didn't like me. I mean, I maybe I should have put Jesus loves you, or, I don't know what I could have said, but really I just wanted to know I wanted open communications to find out if she had taken my tray. Well, she hadn't. One of the inspectors, quality control people, had come and got it to check it. But I didn't know that. I thought it was her. I wrote this note. And anyway, I worked there several years. Never talked to her again. Now, I wish she could have forgave me or my husband. I don't know. And to this day, he's dead now, but I wonder why he did that to her. But it worked. So I say, was I terribly wrong? I was. I should have asked her forgiveness. My forgiveness of thinking bad thoughts about somebody I did not know. That taught me a lesson for the rest of my life. So whenever in doubt, figure it out. Ask them. Don't think the worst. Don't think the worst of somebody just because their movements are strange. The situation they're in and what they're doing is none of your business. And don't think bad. Think good things. And then if it's bad things, then you can't do anything about it anyway. And you don't want to start. You don't need to get in somebody else's business. Taught me a great, great lesson. And I know I'm rambling on, but that's my story of forgiveness, and I wished I had asked her for forgiveness, and I don't know where she is today. I've been around the world since then, um, but I pray for her all these many, many years. Anyway, forgive when you can. Think good thoughts. Remember to keep yourself busy, keep creating, keep curious, and keep happy. And share your happiness and don't let anybody take it away from you. And remember, God has you in His hands. And pray for Mother Earth, because I want some more tomatoes. No. All right, I'll see you soon as soon as I get these other videos loaded. I know this is just a chit chat today, but I've got so many things, some crocheting projects I'm so excited about. And anyway, bye-bye from me and Connor. Connor's underneath my walker here, and we're going to head back because it's getting warm, and it is August something, the 7th maybe. Anyway, carry on. Bye-bye.